as we finish up the PowerPoint, we're basically dealing with the big 5 infield drills. And what we're talking about here is basically for coaches. This is more for coaches that have teams. Okay. Now, a dad or a mom can do these same drills with their son or daughter. You don't have to have a team, but typically this is what I do with my players as a team. And some of these guys will do these drills like the short hop variations. They'll do all year round, and they'll choose to do bits and pieces of the big 5. But when we're together as a team, we literally execute the entire thing. And it takes about 15 minutes. We do 3 reps per zone of each drill. Okay. So drill 1, I think this is very interesting, Nate. Of course, you know, if you look at Tabor here, he looks like he's in the 9th grade. This is when he was a freshman in college. So you can see how much he's changed. So he's 141 pounds right there. But he's just doing, this is going to be a standard. It starts off with standard short hops with a glove, which is the most predictable, least challenging, you know, mostly picks and pushes glove action that you see. And then they'll progress more to more recent video with rolls. A lot of people never get past just doing this kind of stuff right here. This is all they do. This is recent. We just filmed this, you know, last week. The different footwork variations tied in. And he's being challenged right here, and I'm sure you're going to talk about that. This will challenge your hands. Feedback.
I could comment on basically the simplicity of his movements, and we've been coaching infield for, you know, about 60 years together, you know, a combination. Right. And I've been coming to the Dominican for about 20 years now, and studying Major League infielders with the area codes, and as a Major League Baseball scout for over 20 years as well. And really realizing that it's the simplicity, but it's the same, you know, as a hitter too, Trey. I mean, it's like, it's the simple concepts that we don't know what to keep simple. So what you see there is simplicity. It's efficiency of movement. It's straight lines. It's setting up in posture. His hands separate every single time in the center of his body. He's pretty much between his belt and his chest. I just call it lower chest. Some guys call it midline, but it's basically, that is the separation point. That is absolutely crucial. That is one of the biggest eyesores of any college coach or pro scout or any elite team. If you're looking for a guy, an elite mover with smooth actions, that is number one. So if you notice everything that he's doing, he's fielding one in posture. Now, if you don't have the flexibility we talked about in the beginning, you can't even get to posture. So you're not a smooth infielder. So you have to get through the flexibility phase, so that you're an elite mover low to the ground. That's where it really begins. Because if you can't get to posture with little effort, with no effort, you're not a smooth infielder. So first and foremost, he's in posture with little to no effort. It's just easy. It's easy on the eyes, right? There's no effort. His glove works out in front on the ground with no effort. And then everything is straight lines back to the center. Then notice as he separates, there's movement, right? He doesn't catch then move. It's this rhythm with the ball. He's receiving with his hands and his feet in rhythm, right? It's timing and rhythm. So as he receives and sets up, whatever he's doing, he's setting up in his V-slot launch position. It's simplicity, and it's over and over and over. And he's cleaning up and getting rid of any extra wasted space, movements, anything. And when you watch, you go, wow, that looks so easy. Well, it is. But the problem is coaches don't know what to make to simplify. So we're doing all this stuff, and it's an absolute waste, because what you're doing is you're taking them away from where they need to go. It's like they just took a detour down the wrong road. and they're wanting to get to one place. So it's the simplicity, and that's the whole point that I want to make from the throwing program. The V slot is so simple, it's ridiculous. There's no winding up. Your body stays in posture. Is all you do is like load like you're pulling a slingshot or pulling a lawnmower, or pulling a bow and arrow. It's just a scap load. It's nothing. And then your body organizes in power positions, not trying harder, right? The big leaguer's not even trying. He has all this power. Well, he's athletic, of course, and he's strong. But the point is, these drills, everything you see is simplicity. It's simplicity. Simplifying the complex, and we have to know what to simplify, and that is the secret. And that's what I've spent 30 years, and you as well. We've spent these years trying to understand, what do you simplify, because we've both been in college baseball, professional baseball, scouting. We've done it all. We've been working with athletes that want to be collegiate players, professionals, elite players, and we've realized that there's so much wasted time and space and extra stuff and this and that. And what we're doing is we're simplifying. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, it's really nice. So that was drill 1 of the big 5. So now drill 2 through drill 5 are literally, I filmed these, 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, as part of my ABCA presentation on the stage. So, they're working 3-step, 5-step lateral movement. The whole premise of this drill, Nate, and they execute it fairly well, except 1 rep. Literally, you want to prep, you want to get your prep footwork, but it's being rolled, the ball's being rolled. So we start glove side, 5 reps, glove side, it's going to work back and forth. If you can't get in front, okay, basically if he has to fight to get in front, he'll just get to his backhand, but you're not setting your feet to throw like you typically would with any kind of footwork. You're creating more of a double play type feed action. So he's going to stay facing his partner and, work a short V slot and throw back. And he's not allowed to take off back in the other direction until the ball's rolled, because you're supposed to be reading speed of the ball. And if you just take off before the ball's rolled, then obviously you're not taking any kind of judgment into where you have to intersect this ball based on speed. So, and that's going to be the common flaw. I think one time Will, the feeder here, can't get the ball out of his glove in time, and Tabor takes off a little early, but we always go glove side first.
Great feet. Pop. Stay low. Field it out front.
A little early there.
Atta boy. Pop. Hit him in the chest.
Start glove side, finish glove side, 5 reps, and they would alternate. So really just, working laterally strong, explosive movements. And you can modify this drill any way that you want to modify it. But, I have found that it works very well when executed correctly. Any feedback on it?
That's great.
Okay. We're going to move on. We're going to the Aussie drill. So basically this you see pretty standard, this drill executed. You see it on YouTube. You see it all over the place. It's going to be more pick, push, glove actions. We do it with a feeder because we're working a whole team. Basically, they're going to work all 3 zones. And, the feeder has to take pride. So we create this fielder's arc out front where you'll see him create posture and reach out and draw this circular. Okay, that basically you're trying to hit that line or be close to that line to give that short hop or in between hop. You're not looking to bounce the ball way out front. In this particular drill, you're not going to be receiving at all. Okay, unless your feeder makes a horrible feed and bounces it way out in front of you, and it's now a long hop, you can receive. But if it's anywhere in on that line, that fielder's arc that you'll see him draw, it's going to be
zones.
There's
your arc. There's your fielder's arc. Okay. Pick and pop. Atta boy. Good. All right, zone 2 backhand. Here we go. Pick and pop. Atta boy. Way to cut that hop off right there. In betweener. Good. Again. Another in betweener. Good. Glove side. Good. Notice he's doing this one-handed. Zone 3.
So what I want to say real quick is you notice the pick and pop. So part of this drill is working on trusting your hands, trusting your instincts, okay, because you're on knees. So you're going to have to take whatever hop you get, and you're going to have to deal with it with a pick or a push, okay? And then you have to make that quick transition to a V and pop it back just like you would on a double play feed. So I wanted to say that. Any feedback on your part, Nate, on the Aussie?
Yeah, I'd like to go back to the other drill too and just notice how it's basically game speed. You know, when you had the infielder moving right and left laterally, that was a game speed move right there. That's a challenge, right? And he's learning to move at game speed. And that's what we don't do enough of. And when we hit fungos, a lot of times they're just lazy, easy fungos. But right there's a little bit of space between the feeder, and he's rolling them firm, and he's making him move. He's got to move his feet. He's got to be on time. He's got to be direct. He needs to be in posture. So I love that, you know, piece there. Then also here in these kind of short hops from a long distance, I mean, the feeder's throwing them hard. And where the fear comes in is the space. Like if you throw a short hop from 3 feet away, there's no space, because space is time. So that ball's in the air literally for maybe half a second. Now your mind can unravel and say, you get scared. You kind of pull off. This is like a whole nother level of short hops. The space, the distance, throwing them firm. He's throwing some at 1 o'clock where he's got, you know, some steep, he's got an angle there. So I mean, those are very, very difficult. And that's like a whole nother level of short hops. And then he's on his knees and he doesn't even have the luxury to get out of the way if he got scared. I mean, his chin is in it.
Yep, that's true. Love the Aussie drill. Pays great dividends. So now we're going to choose your hop. On the choose your hop drill, basically the feeder is, you know, he's going to be doing predictable reps, so zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. They make this look very easy. It's very difficult, especially for beginning players. They just don't have a feel for the ball in space and where it's going to land. So when you're picking hops, you understand the ball, and your mind understands how it moves and how it hops and how gravity impacts each hop. It just happens over time. So here, when he's throwing these exaggerated lofts to the ball, you know, the fielder is having to figure out exactly where that ball is going to land, because he's got to get the short hop. Now, if you're doing this on turf, you can maybe say, I want the short hop on the second bounce, which is a little bit more even challenging. It's something you can add to the drill. But when you're on clay, you're going to have to get it right on that first short hop. So his feet literally got to organize and get him to the place where he can be in a good fielding position to handle this short hop. Again, you know, like a beginning fielder, when the ball's lofted into the air, they're going to like look at it. And by the time they figure out where they need to be, it's going to be landing on the ground, which we see all the time at camps, right, Nate? So you see the drill executed. He's reading, got to set in. Okay.
Attaboy, there's one. Hustle back. We'll get it.
That one.
Good. Tough. Position to throw. Cut it off. Good. Way to sink. Create a little space, little distance on that pick. Tough one. Nice. Good. Boom. Nice. Good energy. Read. Good.
So that's the premise of the choose your hop drill, which is drill 4 of the Big 5. Any feedback?
Yeah, we talk about GFS, great first steps. Having a great first step, you know, sets you up to have a great last hop. And basically what he's doing is he's positioning himself so he has a great last hop. And he's fighting for that 2-inch hop, because if the ball's only bounced anywhere from 2 to like 4 inches, I mean, it could be 6 inches too. It's still a short hop, but you know, the longer the bounce, right, the more room for error. So he's fighting for a great last hop, which is a product of a great first step. Now he has, you know, as he lands in his pre-pitch and he's rhythmic in his feet, he has to read the ball, right? And that's judgment. That's timing. It's timing and judgment. So he's mastering, you know, 4 different pieces here. He has a great first step. He has timing and judgment, that's what the master infielder has, right? He has timing and judgment. That's what a great hitter has, timing and judgment. Well, the master infielder, it's all about placement. It's hop placement and it's foot placement, putting his feet in the right position so that he could set up in posture with a 2-inch hop, setting up for a great last hop. So he's putting it all together. And this is, Trent, I would say the biggest missing piece. It's like with hitters. Hitters have a very difficult time identifying different pitches out of hand and having timing and judgment, right? That's a master hitter. Well, a master defender right at contact can read spin, shape, speed. They can read all three within milliseconds. And they have a great first step because they're on time with their feet. So he's working his timing of his feet, right? Then he has the judgment, the timing, speed, spin, shape. And he literally has to read all that. Now, this drill is a little bit slower, so it gives him time. But this drill, audience, you will see that very few players will be able to get a 2-inch hop and be in position, you know, setting the ball left of center, you know, front foot timing, fielding right, left field on time, taking the ball to the midline, center of the body, lower chest, straight lines back, setting up in the launch position into the V slot. This is, you know, putting it together with timing and judgment, reading, spin, shape, speed, putting it all together. And this is very difficult. He can, you know, lower the height of his feet. He can go high. He can throw it 20 feet in the air. He can throw it belt high. He can throw it knee high. He can throw it face high. You just have to give your, you know, the guy on the receiving end, the fielder, enough time to be able to go get a short hop.
Yeah, and you can even make them go back, take drop steps if you throw it a little bit where it's going to land that first hop a little behind him, not ridiculously behind him, but you know, where they have to read and drop and then get into position. But and also the last phase of this drill is unpredictable, which we don't show, where basically the feeder can feed it in all three zones and you don't go back to center. So here he's like backpedaling back to start in the same position. And an unpredictable phase, once you get that first hop and you set up the throw, you're right there and you got to go from there. 5 reps. And typically the last rep, and we actually do this, we do 5 reps. The last one, they're going to throw short and the runner's got to come in and field that, you know, like that slow roller and get into that V slot with some tilt ready to throw. That's how we end this sequence of 5 reps. And that's not shown here so the audience can understand. And that's the beauty of these 5 drills, Nate. That's why they're the big 5, because to me, the practicality of them, everything that you're saying is exactly why we do them, because these are the actions, the movements that create smooth infielders and also transfer into the game. So they're working on things that literally transfer as opposed to sit there doing a million different short hops and acting like we got something accomplished. So, you know, my last point I want to make on the big 5 is the fly ball drill. Okay. The fly ball drill, you know, to be a smooth infielder, it's not just about fielding ground balls. That's a part of it, right? It's making feeds, it's turning double plays, it's being able to go back on balls over your head and make these difficult catches. That's part of being smooth, having confidence, having woo way. Okay. And, you know, working on that, because typically infielders, especially at the lower levels, they don't get reps on fly balls. They just don't, unless they're taking BP and they go up. So with a feeder feeding here, of course, we're being predictable on what zone, but again, the last round is unpredictable and you have to read. And then the feeder, Nate, is going to actually have some practicality because he's going to be working on setting up for a relay, making a transition with body actions to throw to the plate or put a tag on. So he's not just being the feeder, he's literally has his phase, and it's important for the person receiving the ball, making the fly ball catches, okay, that they got to try to create some momentum towards their target whenever possible. If they're catching the ball on the run, glove side, they can spin glove side and throw. I mean, we are trying to create game speed. We call them Texas leaguers, duck farts, whatever you want to call them. Fly balls going out over their head, and you got to challenge them. So the feeder is going to vary height, distance, and all 3 zones to challenge. And you can even learn how to dive going back here. You know, we have a good field, nice grass. So the guys learn how to dive and extend out and make these difficult catches.
Mike!
Tag. Any feedback?
You know, one, this is fun. I mean, you know, it puts the fun really into the practice. It's a lot of fun and it's challenging too. Colton Wong is one of the best in the game, Gold Glove second baseman for the St. Louis Cardinals, and I spend the winter often with his family in the Big Island. And Colton, you watch his highlight reel, he has more over-the-shoulder catches than I've ever seen any major league infielder, and that's like half of his reel. And he's good at it because he practices it. Literally, I mean, we were working on it in the wintertime in the off season. He had his machine. His dad was just shooting him at him, and he's making these catches look so easy, Trent. And all the other guys, they were all minor leaguers, and they had no chance. They would catch like two, then miss two, then they'd catch one, then miss one, then catch four. He made like 20 out of 20, like Willie Mays, like it was a joke. And it was simply because he practiced his craft. And what you leave unintended goes unintended, and it diminishes, it declines. You don't get better at things you don't work at. And so the point of the Big Five and the drills that we're doing here is you're covering an array of drills to build this smooth infielder. And if you actually work on these drills on a regular basis, not to maintain, but to build, to develop, what happens is your skills go through the roof. It's building, and it's beautiful.
I think a big point too is the feeder. There has to be an element of pride to the feeder, right? You want to feed like you want to be fed. You know, just like I always laugh when guys get to high school or college, I can't throw BP.